Today on Paranormal Insights, we're going to take a look at concurrent lifetimes and if you can incur karma without having done anything.
And we have a question from a viewer about what sort of writing she should be doing in this lifetime.
And a quick look with Sean David Morton, a very famous and well-known psychic and predictor. I'm Ernest Martin.
And I'm Markus Thorndike.
And this is Paranormal Insights, where we bring you the latest and best from the metaphysical world.
Here you'll get real tools and insights to your questions as we bring you answers from beyond the ordinary.
Markus is a master hand analyst and life purpose consultant. He is the author of the upcoming book, Leap, the Global Campaign for Life, Love, and the Achievement of Happiness for All.
Joseph is an award-winning psychic of over 25 years and is the author of the international bestseller, The Quest to Row, and the recipient of the Visionary Award of Excellence.
You know, the whole topic of concurrent lifetimes can really be kind of a mind-blowing kind of thing, because it seems hard enough to have this lifetime in our own heads, let alone the idea that we could have concurrent parts of self all existing at the same moment.
My head feels like it wants to explode sometimes about this. It's so true.
Absolutely. Now, I know that some people have actually been able to, through hypnosis, touch those concurrent lifetimes in a way where they could actually see themselves alive on the planet Earth at the same time, but just in a different part of the country.
Wow, that's really quite amazing. Or how people will experience maybe a past life, but it's in a different planet or it's in a different location. Was it really a past life, or is it happening right now in this other location? And they're having this experience that they then relate to their own lives that's maybe even teaching them about something they need to know now about this lifetime.
Absolutely. And the thought, you know, we didn't really touch when we were earlier, we didn't really touch on the idea of other planets too much.
Oh, no,
but you know, it's right in there with other universes, multiple universes, parallel universes, however you want to look at that, where you could actually maybe be alive as an alien on another planet, whether in this universe or a parallel universe. And that those lifetimes, even if they're alien, could be touching each other concurrently. That's just amazing.
It's truly amazing how much these different lifetimes, when you think about it, it's like we're all one being that has all these thousands of emanations.
Do all your lifetimes have to be lived at the same time? Well, clearly no. But how can both concepts be put into the same frame of reference? Think of your life as a movie film. The strip of film has a distinct beginning, middle, and end. And if you lay the film out, you would see a long line of film. But a reel of film is wound onto a spool as one thing. The beginning, middle, and end still exist, but are wound in such a way that they are now a single thing, a reel of film. This is how your lifetime exists. It is a linear life with a start, middle, and end, but it is wound onto a spool, and all parts of your life exist at the same time. We only experience our lives as a series of frames or events, but they all exist all at once, like the reel of film. I know, temporal science gives me a headache too, but the fascinating part of this is that even though all time may exist at once, we experience it as a linear series of events that we create from one frame to another.
Around it that are all connected, all affecting each other intrinsically. It's just mind-boggling, because it takes you have to, in order to really imagine it, you have to begin stepping out of that it's just about little me. And that's so important.
Yes, and the idea of karma, most people will think of it as kind of a negative thing, like, you know, bad karma or karma coming back to get you. However, there's, you know, the whole side of good karma that you can look at. And that means by doing good in this lifetime, by having truth, honesty, and integrity in this lifetime, you can raise the vibration, affect the mobile, affect your strip of film.
So why should you have to pay the price for something that another lifetime did, or another member of your soul family? The bad news for us is that we think of our lives as personal, that we are individuals, but we are more like a cell in a body of a larger being than we are just a single individual. Life isn't really personal for any of us. We just take it personally, sometimes very personally. If we get soaked in the rain, we blame the rain for raining on little us. But the rain was just raining, and we happened to be in the place where it was happening. So it is with our karma. Sometimes we get wet or hurt or stop from achieving something we dream about, and we just can't understand why. When, looked at impersonally, you can see that the great karmic mobile of all that is simply doing its best to balance itself out. And you happen to be on a spoke that needed to help out with some balancing. So, help to balance it. Work with your karma rather than against it. Stop complaining about what is happening to poor little you, and instead start to dance with it, to dance with all of your lives living together in the great reality as one, each life affecting the other in a dance of love and care. Learn to love your karma, for without it, you, truly, wouldn't be fully you. Now would you?
Your life in a way that affects all of your concurrent lifetimes and raises all of you to a higher vibration. This could even possibly be related to, or maybe explain a little bit, spontaneous healing, or when we have events in our life that are so synchronous, we just can't put the two and two together on why that door opened the way it did.
I can't, there's all these times in my life when that sort of thing has exactly happened. I imagine that all our viewers can't have probably had moments where it's like, how did that happen? And it's all synchronistic, all happening in this sudden, like it all fits together in this magic pattern that you had no idea, you didn't plan it, you didn't organize it, and there it is unfolding in this beautiful way. That's also karma in action unfolding for us.
And the good side of karma, the kind of karma that we really want to have for ourselves, the positive, the happy, where there's luck and synchronicity, and where the one door closes and one door really does open. How is it possible to be alive at the present time in more than one life? It sounds rather crazy, but what if you could be having more than one lifetime at the same time? Science says that we may be living in a strange and wonderful universe where there are multiverses or additional universes that exist in almost the same time space as we do. Each universe is just one vibration apart from the other, each existing with their own physics, people, etc. And we may have a counterpart alive in that universal dimension. Now, imagine a cup of water. This will represent your major soul essence. Next to that cup, you have 4 empty cups. Each of these represents a parallel universe. You take your cup of water and pour it equally into each of the empty cups. It's still the same water, only now it's in 5 different cups. What was one thing, your original cup of water, now has been separated into a total of 5 cups. This would be like your soul essence being split into 5 different lifetimes, but all still the same soul essence. Now, at the end of all those life cycles, the water is poured back into 1 cup. This is the separate elements of the soul coming back together as a whole. Now, I know this can sound complex, but think of your soul as separating into distinct pieces to experience different concurrent lifetimes, and then rejoins itself back into one primary soul once those life experiences are completed. During the time you are, let's say, 5 different people or lifetimes, your lives are still connected at some level and will affect each other. This is the effect of having a karmic experience without really having performed an action in that lifetime. You may experience an event that makes no sense because you are a good person, hardworking, honest, and yet something really awful happens. This may be because one of your lifetimes has incurred karma that your present lifetime is feeling the effect of. My guides have told me that the other side is many times unimaginable. in the way it is, and that from an Earth perspective, we have to use all these different kind of words and examples and stories to just try to get a little piece of it. But it actually exists in a multi-dimensional way that is possibly really beyond our ability to understand fully.
And yet we are being asked to take responsibility for all of that. I mean, it's beyond our understanding. But when we begin to recognize that it's not just about little me, it's about all of these me's, all coming together. And because I'm here in this me, it's my responsibility to try to interact with all of those energies and bring them all together and bring my truth, bring my integrity, bring my love to everything that's occurring, so that I can help raise the vibration of all of me and not just the little me. And that helps change things.
And not just the little me. It's this whole idea of being connected, whether through science, where they say, dark matter or unknown matter connects us all. I don't like the term dark matter, by the way. It really is just unknown. The idea, though, stands. We are connected, not only in our concurrent lifetimes, like the mobile, but through the connection with all and the universe. And that's what makes this so amazingly special.
And now, a quick visit with psychic and radio host Sean David Morton.
I'm here with Dr. Sean David Morton. Sean David Morton has a PhD in psychology, is a network TV producer, and has an extremely popular radio show called Strange Universe. Sean's been doing research and work in this field in famous areas like Area 51, but Princess Diana, and of course the Phoenix Lights, among many, many other things. Sean, I am just so pleased that you have time to talk with us today, because I have seen you speak at events from way back when the UFO conference was at the Dunphy Hotel.
I remember that. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm feeling good. I've just completed a best-selling book called Sands of Time. That's like the 31st best-selling book in the world right now, and it's got 5-star reviews all across the board. And we're talking to some people about turning it into a TV series on HBO.
Well, that is fantastic. Now, what's a little bit about this book? What is it about?
Sands of Time, in brief, was I actually had a contact inside the military-industrial complex for many, many years. It was a friend of my father, and I got a call from some attorneys in West LA that said, you need to come in and on an estate matter, and they made me sign all these documents, and then they handed me these journals saying that the doctor had moved on, and so they said, you can do whatever you want with this except reveal his name, because he had living relatives and there were still active programs that were still very sensitive. So what I did is I novelized it to turn it into a very much kind of an action adventure story, and it just came out fabulously well, and the flow of it takes from soup to nuts. If you're interested in the conspiracy, if you're interested in anything that has to do with super technology, back engineering, anything that has to do with treaties of extraterrestrials, you can really start with Sands of Time, because the whole story is from him being 17 years old, his father disappearing, and then him being pulled into a series of top secret projects where he actually became a director of the global shadow government. And that's his entire story of 40 years. So it's Sands of Time, 40 years in the shadow government. And I just had people at this expo, a woman who'd read the book twice bought 3 copies to give to all her friends.
So my goodness.
So it's been great. The book's just been fabulously successful. So.
Now, you've been talking about something that a lot of people have not even heard about, and it is called a novelty wave. Is that right?
Yes. Well, the novelty waves, Dr. Terrence McKenna was a good friend of mine years ago. I grew up in Atherton up here in Northern California, and he was in Half Moon Bay, where he was doing a lot of research into psychotropics. But part of what Terrence did is he took the I Ching, ran it through a computer, and came up with a series of waves that history goes along by studying the I Ching. So the fascinating part about this is the I Ching begins approximately the same time as the Mayan calendar, which is about 3116 BC, August 16th, Tuesday, somewhere around happy hour, and then ends on December 21st of 2012. Well, when I was working for Sightings back in the day for Fox, we interviewed Dr. McKenna, and he talked about this all the way into 2012, saying that he believed that at the end of what he called the black hole singularity, that the only thing that could explain what's about to occur on that event, which he claimed was greater than the fall of the Roman Empire, World War I, World War II, the French and American revolutions, all these events in history combined, is that humanity learns how to somehow travel through time. And that was back in 1991. So the last two spikes of the novelty wave right now, the first one was September 11th, and you've seen now what's happened is when I talked about the Middle East, and by the way, I have another book.
Well, and you mean September 11th, 2000?
Of this year, yeah, of this year.
Oh, of this year.
Yeah, so we have two novelty waves or spikes, right, coming up before December 21st. The first one was September 11th, and the next one is going to be October 17th. So what you've seen is on September 11th, you had the beginning of the attacks on the Egyptian embassies. I got a warning from a friend of mine in Canada who works in the Secret Service saying the Canadians about 2 weeks ago had closed their embassy, so they knew something was coming. And now, as of the news this morning, you've now seen attacks on something like 20 American embassies. The entire Middle East is on fire. They're all screaming, Obama, Obama, we're all Osama. And now you're seeing the Middle East basically just explode, which is what I predicted in my last novel, which is called The Dark Prophet, about the Middle East all configuring under the control of what the Quran predicts to be the 12th Iman, or the Mahdi, the veiled prophet. So,
now today is September 16th, and this is the news that has come out just this morning, even before the show opened.
Yeah, so I was talking about the embassies, and let's just go through the timeline, because now we have a very brief period of time. So on September 11th, we have this novelty wave of now the beginnings of a war, the beginnings of Islam beginning to confederate. So, because here, another thing that's very important that I get on record now is that Marina Popovich, who is a friend of mine, we brought her over in the early 90s, is the first woman of space travel. She is she's a cosmonaut from Russia, and she believes that the Russians have actually managed to decode the language of the crop circles. And what she's saying is that in the decoding of this language, she believes that there's going to be a massive polar shifting, not a flip, mind you, but a massive polar shifting sometime between September 23rd and September 27th. Now,
of this year?
Of this year, yes, just coming up in the next couple of weeks. Now, Cornell University published a paper in April of 2011 in which they came up with what they called the God Code. And the God Code was basically taking the value of pi, 3.14 times 60, which comes up to 188.4. And they've noticed that all of these earthquakes, these major earthquakes, are occurring in a cycle of 188 days. So you had Fiji, then you had Peru, which was 188 days, then you had New Zealand, 188 days, then you had Japan, Fukushima, 188 days, and then the very strange earthquake in Richmond, Virginia, and Colorado, which relieves pressure on the New Madrid Fault. Then the earthquakes along the San Andreas in Mexico, which were actually off. They predicted it for March 20th, and the quakes actually happened they predicted March 22nd. The quakes happened on March 20th. But the Mexicans were ready. The Mexicans actually did a National Earthquake Preparedness Day. So somebody warned them, and there was a 7.8 and a 7.4, and there were only 6 casualties because they'd already evacuated the hospitals and schools and whatever else. So the next quake on this timeline, the Russians believe is going to be off the coast of either Peru or Chile in South America, and the God Code guys are talking about September 26th, 27th as being another shift of the axis of the Earth by about 7 inches or so. To give you an example, Fukushima shifted the axis of the entire planet by about 6.5 inches. Chile shifted it by about 5. So I think they're in a desperate race right now to use super technology to alter the nodal axis of the planet before we align with galactic center. Not on December 21st, mind you, as is popularly known, but galactic center is at 27 degrees Sagittarius, which means it will align on the day of December 18th through December 19th. Then when I predicted the Northridge quake in 94, I was the first person to come out and say, this is the U.S. military. This is the United States government that is actually studying how to trigger these quakes using explosions, Tesla technology, HARP technology, extra low frequency waves, and I pinpointed exactly where the Northridge quake would be because I knew where the ELF antennas were going to be.
Well, you can tell that Dr. Sean David Morton has a ton of information. This is one of the most brilliant men on the planet where all these topics are concerned. Well, that's really generous of you.
He's much cuter than I am, so it's all good.
Now, Sean, people are going to want to know how to get your book, where to find it, how to contact you, how to find you.
Okay, the big
how
website.
Do they find
the
you?
website is you can actually just look at SeanDavidMorton.com or StrangeUniverseRadio.com, and I have the number 3 biggest show on the internet right now on American Freedom Radio. Which is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 7 to 9 Pacific time.
And you don't want to miss this because he does a fantastic radio show. Please look him up on the internet, get his book. I have to tell you, years ago I bought 2 of his unpublished manuscripts before they were published just so I could see what was happening. Sean, thank you so much for your time today. This was absolutely wonderful.
Be blessed. You have a wonderful show.
And now we have a viewer question from Grace about her future career. She's mixed the cards, I've mixed the cards, I've asked my guides to come in, I've asked Grace's guides to come in, and let's see what they're going to be saying. Now, Grace, I'd like you to go ahead and state your question for me.
My question is, what type of writing should I be doing in this lifetime?
Okay, I think that is fantastic, and that is exactly what we're going to be focusing on, is what her guides have to say about her future career and about what kind of writing that Grace is going to be doing. So the first thing I want to say is, honestly, you're telling me the truth by asking the question. It says you actually don't know. So you have knowledge or intuition or cognition upside down. So that's like not really being quite sure about where to go with this. But one of the things this does say for you is that you personally are a very strong young woman. And so you really have opinions. You really have thoughts. And when you commit to something, you are really strong on this. Now, even though I can see you and everyone can see you here with us today, and you're just a lovely, beautiful young woman, it says you have already in your lifetime been through real pain and real trouble. So no one's going to know that about you just to look at you. But your guides say that that's really been true. And they say that you're going to be drawing from this real life experience to help you with your writing. And I believe that right off the bat, you're going to be writing about things that have an emotional resonance with you based on your own personal life and past events, rather than children's books or fiction or how to make spaghetti book, something like that. Now, this says that you're not going to be writing about you specifically. So I feel like what you will be doing is including your life experience, but you'll be writing about other things, other people or characters. You doing this, it says, is going to actually be very cathartic for you. It's going to be very healing for you in a very good way. And one of the things to note is when courage is required in a career choice, it means that real action brings about good results for you. And so this is what it's saying for you specifically. It says, spin the wheel of fortune a bit about like the topic per se, something that interests you, but if it relates to your real life experience, going backwards into your life and drawing on those experiences, it's going to be better for you as a writer. The universe here is completely open. So it says, whatever you want to choose, it opens the door for you to have success and to make this happen. Now, writing is going to change your life. Just going to tell you right now. It says you're going to be traveling because of it, and it says you're going to be learning continuously because of it. So for you as a person, I want to say be prepared for this life change. Very often when we have a life change in career, we want to be very open because it really will change our whole life. And for you, Grace, this is exactly what I'm getting for you. I see this as wonderful. I'm excited for you. Good job. And please let us know. I want to buy your first book.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we're with Grace today, who's got a viewer question about the path of her writing and what it should take. So let's see your hands, Grace. All right. So I've already taken a look, by the way, at your fingerprint patterns. A little hard to see here in the studio today, but I've identified them as the successful, innovative healer with a message. So you are fundamentally a messenger. You are meant to be a writer. There is no doubt. You're meant to be a speaker, an author, a writer, a communicator. That message is going to be a message that is meant to be healing for the world. It's also meant to be highly innovative, doing something unique, something that stands out. Innovation is a very unusual life purpose. It's fairly rare. Innovation says, it's like Henry Ford, who said, you know, we should take the horses off the carriages. And everyone thought he was crazy, you know, and now look at our world today, all these cars everywhere. So your message might be something that at first is like, you know, will people believe it or not? You're going to have to be willing to take 1,000 no's for your message, looking for that yes. And when that yes comes, that will bring that change. That's when things begin to move. So you have to be very strong with yourself, very able to stand in, this is the message, and I'm going to keep speaking it and keep speaking it and keep on trying to relate to the world with it until it resonates, until it's time. And with all those no's are teaching you how to articulate it better, how to fashion it better so that it resonates more, not so that you compromise it, okay? But so that you can stand in your truth unabashedly. Got it?
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
yeah. So a couple of other key pieces. You have a brilliant mind to give you all the tools to add in all the detail. When you're adding in all that detail, make sure that you take that detail and make it comprehensive and simple to understand for the average person. Very important that you you take these grand ideas and bring them down so that everyone can understand them. Other key pieces, you are a healer yourself. You are meant to be a healer. Now, if you don't do healing yourself, it's going to be a little hard to do the healing of the world with the innovation message, all right? So make sure you continue to do your own personal healing work, but then in addition to being a writer, you need to add healing as a path, part of your career, part of something you do. Some way you do one-on-one work with other individuals that you help heal them, and that turns around, and that healing process heals you too. And that will then fuel the message and inform it with what it needs to be fulfilled. Make sense?
Yeah, it really does.
Good. All right.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
there you go.
You know, I am just so excited that we were able to have Grace on the set with us today.
Oh.
It made it so wonderful to have the person we're actually reading for here with us on set.
Oh, and she's so adorable, so articulate, so much passion, so much willingness, and so dedicated to make something happen in the world with her mission and what she's up to.
And she's so intelligent. I really love that about her. I keep seeing her as someone who's really going to go places.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So on behalf of Joseph and I, Grace, we wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
We want to answer your questions and address your topics. If you have a question that you'd like answered or a topic you'd like us to look into, we're easy to find. You can find me at questtarot.com or email me at joseph@questtarot.com.
And you can find me at markusthorndike.us or email me at markus@markusthorndike.us. In the Sacramento area, you can watch this program on Comcast Channel 17. See more info at accesssacramento.org. In the San Francisco Bay Area, you can watch this program on Comcast Channels 23, 28, 29, and 33. And throughout the state of California, you can watch this program on AT&T UVerse Channels 99.
Additional channel listings can be found at betv.org and att-services.net. We're now on ivolvetv.com, Roku, and on selected cable channels throughout the Midwest. You can follow us on Facebook, Vimeo, and YouTube. Simply search Joseph Ernest Martin, Markus Thorndike, or Paranormal Insights. And be sure to watch our new show, The Magic Minute, exclusively on YouTube, where you'll see easy-to-use, everyday magical techniques to improve your life, because it only takes a moment to make magic. And when you watch, be sure to click like or subscribe. Please send us your questions and topics
So we can share our paranormal insights
and answers from beyond the ordinary.